Hello and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Car.Ross Sr., and this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. Shout out to my two co-hosts, Femi Ashanoa and Candy T. Jeter. Thank you guys for being a part of the Ross Cloud Podcast. Listen, in their absence, I'm going to try to continue to keep going and bringing you the best that I can bring you, because it's all about consistency. Am I right about it? So let me give a shout out to everybody out there listening, especially to those right here in North Carolina. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the Ross Cloud Podcast. North Carolina, of course, I said that already, but United States on a whole. Thank you guys. All of you that are tuning in, New York and Brooklyn, New York, those that reside in the state of New York, thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Washington, D.C., of course. And, oh, man, I'm just telling you, we're steady growing. Boardman, Greensboro, Charlotte, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, Jamestown. I hear you out there. All right. I see you, Brooklyn. I said before, Clemens and Lexington, Washington. I already said Chapel Hill. Man, thank you. Kernersville, down there in the down there in New Orleans. What it do, baby? Thank you guys for listening. Austin, Texas, and Catawba and Cincinnati. Franklinton and Glen Allen, Goldsboro. Kings Mountain, Mount Airy, North Carolina, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Nashville, New York, Ocean City, Pofftown, Sebring, Stone Mountain again, Waxhaw, and Wexford. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the Ross Cloud Podcast. And of course, I already said Brazil and Belgium and India, Indonesia, Mexico. Hola, senoritas and senors, thank you guys for tuning in. Buenos dias. Buenos tardes. Love you guys down there. Thank you guys. United Kingdom over there in the UK. Stand up. To my Canadian community in Gabon, Africa. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. In Ireland. Thank you guys for tuning in. And over there in Korea, Republic of Korea, and Peru. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the Ross Cloud Podcast. So listen, I got all my shout outs out, but today I'm going to try to do this by myself. I typically would do it by myself, and you'll hear Candy and Femi on certain days of the show. You won't hear them every day, but you will. I will do my best to make sure my voice is heard and that we continue this platform, continue to grow the platform. And we're going to have some guests coming up real soon. But, our goal really is to motivate. And I'll try to do my best to motivate you with some of my life experiences and some of the things that I've gone through without divulging of too much information. But also to give you an opportunity to know me, to know the guy that's behind this microphone, to know that, hey, I've suffered some pitfalls and some downfalls like we all have. But we still get back up. And we stand up and we make it work for ourselves, even in the midst of adversity, even in the midst of going through things that we go through in our personal lives. We still have to keep going, no matter who said it or why they said it, or maybe they feel like you did them wrong, or maybe they think you suck at this or you suck at that. That's okay. It doesn't mean that you stop going because someone says, hey, I don't like them. I don't support them because they're that way. It's okay. You have to keep going no matter what, through the pain, through the hardships, through the turmoil, keep going. So one of the questions that I had today, this is a topic, but I'm asking you, and listen, man, you guys can reach out to us at Ross Cloud Podcast on Facebook. You can message, you can DM us and talk back to us, because we want to get some insight, but we also discuss these things on air when we get the opportunity to, and you'll get a chance to be heard. And hopefully we can begin to make some things really happen where we really engage the audience. We really engage you guys even the more so. But first place you can do is you definitely can email us at rosscloudpodcast@gmail.com, or you can simply go to our Facebook page and Ross Cloud Podcasts on Facebook, at Ross Cloud Experience on Facebook. Of course, you can follow us on Instagram as well. But the question that I had is, what does success look like to you? And everybody probably would have a different answer to that, because success looks different to everybody else. So I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to give some put some perspective on it based off of some of the things that I've gone through and some of the things that I've learned, and I continue to grow and get better. And hey, man, yeah. So here we go. Success is a feeling good about your choices. At the end of the day, success is being able to look at yourself in the mirror and feel good about the choices you've made. No person, I mean absolutely no person, is without their mistakes. But you learn and you grow through the process. And speaking of that, I wanted to make sure that I told you guys, hey, listen, on our last episode, Unforgiveness, we had a little technical difficulties with the microphones, and I want to personally apologize to you. So we're going to continue to work on that. So at the end of the day, success is being able to look at yourself in the mirror and feel good about your choices. So you got to ask yourself, do you feel good about some of the choices that you made as you're on this journey to success? You know, that's one of the questions I think we all ask ourselves, you know. Listen, your version of success doesn't have to look like anyone else's. But it's important that its definition you feel good about, and that is meaningful to you. It's a definition you feel good about, and that it's meaningful to you. Knowing what success looks like for your life will help clarify your goals as you know what you're aiming for. So hopefully, you know, these are some things that can help you. And I'm going to read those things. I'm going to read those things to you. And again, this comes from the Simplicity Habit. It's on where it's a website that I read. It's a reference for you. It's a resource that's for you that I've used for my own personal life. And I still go back and revisit these things in hopes that I can continue to work on being successful. And, you know, so I want to read this to you, and how to define what success looks like in your life. And I know it sounds like I'm rambling, and I probably am. So how to define what success looks like in your life. Here's the formula that's put together. And again, you can go to simplicityhabit.com and simplicityhabit.com. And you can, in your quiet time, you can go and look at this. All right. So number one, lifestyle design. What do you envision as an ideal lifestyle? Like, what do you envision as a lifestyle, what do you envision? How do you like to spend your day to day? Excuse me. What is something you do? What is something you like to do more of? Are you currently content with your lifestyle? So reflect on how you want to spend your time, including your vocation as well as your free time. That's number one. Number two, excuse me, you want to bring a balance to your life. While we're not able to spend every second of every day doing what we love, it's important to balance our responsibilities with activities we truly enjoy doing. That means having enough free time to spend with people we love, as well as time for practicing self-care. So you got to take care of yourself. So make sure you bring a balance to that. While having balance is ideal, it can also feel like an elusive, if not impossible, goal. I agree with that. Balance is not always achievable. There are seasons in life circumstances that you just have to deal with and get through at times. If you're in survival mode, success can simply be making it through each day. Number 3, financially stable. Becoming a multimillionaire may be the quintessential idea of modern success. While I'm sure most of us wouldn't mind waking up tomorrow with a healthy amount in our bank account, having excessive amounts of money is not the be all or end all. I'd venture to guess that many who've amassed a great amount of wealth didn't instantly find themselves feeling fulfilled. It turns out money does not solve all of life's problems. However, that is not to say that money doesn't have an impact on your life. So number 3, financially stable. How much money would you need in order to live comfortably? Now, these are some questions that I'm asking, but you can answer them, personally to yourself. How much money would you need in order to live comfortably? How much of that would be able to spend on activities that bring you joy? What is the exact number you need in order to save for a comfortable future? Would you like to give some of your money to those in need? And if so, how much? So listen, in your quiet time, you can actually, answer those questions in your private time. Because again, it's asking a question. What does success look like to you? Number 4, and this is my favorite one, freedom. Freedom can come various from financial freedom to flexibility with your time and where you live. How much freedom would you like to have? While many people prefer a routine, others like to have the ability to be spontaneous. This can look like traveling on a regular basis, being able to say yes to the last minute outings, or simply having more free time to do activities that you enjoy. Freedom. So ask yourself this: what would freedom look like for you? What would you need to have that type of freedom? What do you want to be able to do with your time? Is traveling important to you? Would you like more time in your days to learn new things? Freedom. Questions. Those are questions. And then again, ask yourself those questions. You can go back and revisit this, Number 5, character and values. In an Instagram world, it's easy to look at other people's lives and assume that they're perfect. However, that's never accurate. And comparison will steal your joy. So listen, man, be content with what God has given you to be successful with. And don't play the comparison game. Man, you'll find yourself up under a table sitting there trying to figure out how I'm going to get out of here, and you're stuck because you're playing the comparison game. Don't look at Facebook. Don't look at Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter. Don't look at any of those things. Snapchat, whatever social media platform you're on. You can't look at other folks' platform and think that they have it all together, because you'll be surprised. You really would be surprised. Success is not all about what you do or don't have. While Mother Teresa chose to live with and care for the poor, that doesn't mean she was unsuccessful. She aligned her life with her values, and that is what I'd consider success. So align yourself with whatever your values are, whatever you like to do. Whatever it is that speaks to your heart, your passion, then do that. And you'll find yourself just being successful. So listen, in your quiet time, you can go back and you can read the simplicityhabit.com. And those were a few things that could possibly help you understand what does success look like for you. But in the midst of that, those still were questions, because it still put it back in your hands, back in your bosom to say, hey, what do I consider to be successful? Like, what is successful to me? What does success mean to me? And we all have those questions to ask. We want to answer to that question. And, I have some things here that, like I said, I'm going to continue to show you or tell you, because you can't physically see it. But, in my quiet time, while I was reading about success, or what does success look like to me, I pondered for a minute, because it was like, wow, what does success look like? And when you begin to ask yourself that question, then you begin to reevaluate your vision, reevaluate your purpose, reevaluate the plan that you've put together, because it needs to align with whatever your passion is, whatever you love to do. What is that thing that's calling you late at night? That's how you're going to know that you're looking forward to you're going to be successful, because it's something that you love to do. So there was an example that I looked at, and you guys might have seen this example, and maybe this can help you understand what success looks like. I alluded to it earlier when I was reading those tips down there a few minutes ago. I think it was like 4 or 5 tips, maybe 7 tips that I read from that could help you understand what success looks like, or what it should look like. And so there was an example that I looked at, and it was the iceberg example. So on one side of the iceberg, all right, what we see in front of us is this big, massive, solid chunk of ice just floating in the water. That's what we see first. And we're like, wow, that is absolutely amazing, right? That's amazing. When we look at people like Denzel, and then I'll go back to it. When we look at those that have perfected that craft and is at the top of that craft. And I just used him as an example. There's Bill Gates. There's the, you have all types of people that we consider successful. Oprah Winfrey's, Tyler Perry's, Jay-Z, Kanye West. People that we consider to be successful. Warren Buffett's of the world, people that we look at. That is what we see first. We look at their wisdom. We look at what they've built. We look at the assets and the money that they have and the influence that they have. And a lot of times we think that's success. We think like, wow, that is great. I want to be that. But we don't really know what they've gone through. And we don't know what they go through behind closed doors. The rap artist Notorious Big, he said, more money, more problems. The more money you have, the more problems you have. And that may be true. You may have people that's coming after the money that you are making or that you do have. So it's a lot. So not to ramble, but so you see this big chunk of iceberg. You see it there. It's huge. It's massive. It's beautiful to the eyesight. Sun glistening off of it. And it's beautiful just sitting in the beautiful Arctic Ocean, in the water in Iceland. Let's just say we're in Iceland. And you see this massive chunk of ice just floating in the water in Antarctica or Iceland, wherever you are, right? Where there's icebergs. And so you see that, and it's like, wow, that's beautiful. But on the bottom of that, what's happening? So here's metaphorically the iceberg. What we see is the iceberg. On one side of the iceberg is persistence, is failure, or fail is sacrifice. On the other side, there is dedication, hard work, discipline, rejection, There's courage in the middle. There's criticism, and you're going to be criticized. There's changes. You're going to have to make some changes. And then there are risks that you're going to have to take. And then as we continue to as we continue to go down on that iceberg, on the other side, there's passion, there's honesty, there's good habits, there's innovation and dedication. Now, all of this is at the bottom of the iceberg, right? It's at the bottom of the iceberg. So listen to this as I give some examples of that. Just think about that iceberg and everything that I named thus far. Those are the things metaphorically that hold up a business, right? You're going to have some hardships. You're going to have some tough times. You're going to have some days where you say, man, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I do not want to do this anymore, right? You may have those days. You may even be thinking, I'm going to quit. But none of those words right there said quit. There was dedication. There was persistence. There was failure. There was fail. There was sacrifice. So an iceberg floats in the ocean water. The density of the ice is less than water. So most of the solid ice is underwater. So metaphorically, think about your business. Sometimes they are carried out by a current. Hey, maybe something in the economy may have caused your business to float out and you're trying to grab it back, right? Listen, but the strength of an iceberg is as 10% strong. Listen to this. The strength of an iceberg is as 10% strong as concrete. So again, metaphorically, you want your business or what you think success is, you got to be strong. It's 10% stronger as concrete. And we all know concrete does not give. It's pretty hard. You got to do a lot of damage to it to break it down, right? So success should look like that. Your business, your success, whatever you consider yourself to be successful in. Now listen to this. They are important because they fertilize the ocean, carrying nutrients from land, and they reach the size of a small state. So I want you to look at metaphorically what success can do for you, right? Metaphorically, this is what success can do for you. And I hope you guys are kind of understanding why I'm giving this definition of icebergs. So metaphorically, I'm talking about your success, your business, whatever it may be. They are important because they fertilize the ocean. So that's important for our ecosystem, right? So again, what is the sole purpose of your business? What are you catering to? What is the audience that you're trying to go through? They may need it. Where is there a need for what you're doing? You got to find that. I love this right here, though, when it talks about an iceberg, because this could happen in business if you look at it from the positive. So an iceberg breaks off of glaciers. It breaks off of glaciers and floats from the shore. Now listen to this. Because it's made up of fresh water, right? That's why it's able to float. It breaks off from there because it's made of fresh water, right? However, they do melt and hit the sea floor. But this is the part that I love. Even though that iceberg breaks off from that glacier, right? That means you may have lost a deal in a contract or just please reference this. Go back and look at this when you get a chance, right? If you look at it metaphorically through the window or through the eye of, or through that hole of, or whatever it is, when you look at it through the window of success or looking at it from the window of business, then you'll get exactly what I'm saying. So they break off from a glacier. The iceberg breaks off from a glacier. It floats from shore. It floats from the shore. And because it's made up of fresh water, so it breaks off and it floats off into the shore, right? And that's because it's made up of fresh water. Let me back up and make sure I say that correctly. It's made up of fresh water. So, of course, it breaks off from glaciers. However, it says they do melt and they hit the sea floor. So sometimes on your journey in being successful, you may hit the sea floor. You may hit rock bottom. But listen to this. But that can make them turn around and create a small one. Right? So it'll hit the sea floor, and then it turns around and it creates a small glacier or a small iceberg. It can make and turn around and create a small glacier or a small iceberg, if you would. So that means if you do break off from a big company, we're talking about success. You break off from a big company and you're trying to figure this thing out in order on your road to success. And you got to remember, you got a lot of nutrients from that glacier, right? But that iceberg is going to break off from that glacier, which was your source of your surviving. You were strong just like that glacier. And then you broke off from the glacier, right? You begin to float. And it's easy for you to float because you're made up of fresh water, meaning you're good. But occasionally on your road to success, you sink. But in you sinking, you figure out how to create something else that can make you become successful. And then you have your own glacier or your own iceberg. Either way, you're still a strong foundation, right? And so when you think about it, what does success look like? And I think personally, from my opinion, I think that the iceberg metaphorically describes success in such a beautiful way. So I had to talk about it. You know, how many times have you on your journey to be successful and you're going to break off and, you know, you're not going to do this, right? You're not going to do that, but you're going to start something on your own. But you break off from this big giant and it's like, turn. But guess what? You got a lot of nutrients with you. You got a lot that you can take with you to help you begin to make your own glacier, right? Your own iceberg, right? And you may start off small, but eventually you're going to grow into this massive glacier if you take what you've learned from that glacier, right? So listen, I hope you guys have heard something on today that could help you become a better you. And I hope that it put some perspective on it. And I hope that I was able to convey that to you properly in hopes that it can help you kind of understand what does success look like to you. And again, you know, it's different for everybody. But metaphorically, I just wanted to talk about the iceberg, the glacier, and use that metaphorically as it pertains to success. And I hope that I was able to convey it and was clear on me explaining what does success look like to you. So listen, this is the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Car.Ross Sr. Make it a great day and keep being great. And remember, what does success look like to you? Peace.